Our next sound shop presenter is Wsabi Fox.
I don't know if you want the other one.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to use this one. A little bit. Just from moving stuff over, it's a little bit jumbled. It's okay. Okay. Cool. All right, let us play a game. Heavy weight. My name is Janae Santos. This project is called Wsabi Fox, which I describe as performative art rock, or art prog. Yeah. As soon as you were talking about King Crimson, I was like, all right, I'm gonna bust out this. Yeah. And it takes on many different incarnations. There's the solo set, there's Banda Grande, which includes guitar, bass, drums, cello, violin, bari or tenor sax, as well as live visuals. I do movement cycles with dancers. The original lineup is just guitar and drums. And yeah, I make a lot of use of this loop pedal, which is the Boss RC1, probably the most like basic loop pedal out there. It runs for about $100, but it's really intuitive. And I guess like something I'm thinking about in terms of song structure when using this thing is trying to tap into all realms of the EQ spectrum. So we're with that song, like we're starting off with kind of like a bassy, like dirty line, and then we'll balance it out later with something a little bit more clean. Another thing I like to play with in terms of this loop pedal is polyrhythms and stacking them, and which is really demanding of a drummer. And another thing I like about this pedal is that it's stereo in and out, and so I'll use the second line out, which goes into a baby mixer and right into a drummer's ear, which can be a little bit disorienting since you're like used to being the time as a drummer, but not in my project. like the loop is the time. And yeah, so like a lot of these songs take on the form of what I like to call the eternal groove. And we're like changing sections, and we're like introducing new elements, yeah, sometimes polyrhythms, and with the use of different pedals that come before it, just like different, yeah, sonic textures, in order to have a fully balanced mix of loop. Another thing I use this loop pedal for is to just demo parts. It's a really like immediate recording device. Also, just to like write for different instruments as well. Obviously, a guitar is not a violin, is not a saxophone, and so we'll make adjustments in rehearsal. But yeah, and then again, like not all my songs are like just like one groove the whole time. I like turn this thing on and off. I also have this, can I unplug this so that like, let's make sure.
Yes.
Okay, just so I can give you a visual of what I've been stepping on. Yeah, just a little box. And I kind of customized it with this option knob, which I can like fade down with my foot and kind of leave space on my pedal board instead of having a volume pedal. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I have a question.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I love to ask this in this context, but your compositions are so densely complex that I am curious if you compose these things without thinking about how you're going to loop them, or if you loop them and that's how you compose them. Like, are you building these parts and then worrying about how you will recreate it, or the exact opposite?
I feel, I don't know, so much of it is really intuitive.
Yeah.
And I think like, for instance, so Yes Ma'am, which is the song I just played, is in 7, with like the accents kind of changing every bar. But then, I don't know, I'm thinking, oh, like there's a good deal of math that goes into this, of course. So I'm like, oh, 7, so there's 28 beats. I can do 9, 9, 10 over that. And like, but it'll be like a halftime 3 feel, which was the second layer of the loop. And then the final feel just being 7 again, but felt as like 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And so I guess like in terms of considering composition versus like what should be looped, or like what's the end of the loop, and like what'll like hit people.
Yeah.
I guess kind of how I'm interpreting your question.
No, yeah, you're doing the math ahead of time.
Yeah, doing the math ahead of time, but also like initially, I guess I'm not thinking about it too hard. Like this project started with myself and a drummer like just jamming, and the first loop that came out of that had this kind of off-kilter feel as well, due to just maybe like an error. Like I was maybe trying to like be in 4/4, but then like came upon the beat a little bit later. And so, I don't know, I feel like after a time, because we have these like long form loops, as a listener, you kind of just feel time in a different way and you get used to that world by nature of repetition.
The Boss RC1, is that the only device you were using for this song?
No, I have other effects pedals on my board.
Were you using other effects pedals for the song?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the first layer of that loop, there's a drive pedal, which is the low-res cement lunch pedal. It's a like indie pedal. Like Jared Hiller from Operator Music Band has this great pedal company. Like they make their pedals in this basement in Greenpoint. And then we have, just take this apart. And it's kind of a multi-band saturator. You can kind of craft the sound. It's like an overdriven 2-band is kind of what it's trying to emulate. But you can kind of modify the highs, lows, mids on this. And then we have Mini Foger Ring Mod, which is my favorite pedal. And I don't know, I think it's kind of like a unique drive or distortion in a sense. So that was the first layer, and then the second layer I had a Deadbeat Wet Dreams chorus pedal, which I got for like 20 bucks on Reverb. Like there was an amazing sale, and yeah. As well as this Boss DD3 digital delay for more ambience. So yeah, that's what was just used on that song.
How was it that you decided to start using a loop pedal? And what was your world like before the loop pedal?
Before Wsabi Fox, I had a band called Big Figment, which was guitar, bass, drums, synth, and trumpet. And we disbanded in 2016, and I kind of like felt the need to compensate for these lack of collaborators, lack of like big sound. And so I'm like, you know what, with all the pedals that I invested in, I could be guitar, bass, and synth. I just need a drummer, or to just write really rhythmic parts that like loop and essentially could be like some sort of drums. And that disbandment also coincided with like a relationship breakup. I was dating the bassist in that group, and we were evicted the same week. And so looping kind of became this meditative, like healing thing that I got to do by myself and have complete control over. And I don't know, like you have different bands and they're great, you can play off of each other, but sometimes you have all these power struggles. And like this was like my like saving grace of like finding control over my composition and my like style.
Never date the bass player.
What's that?
Never date the bass player.
Some of them are alright. But it's funny because I also like shied away from having bass in my band up until recently. Not to say that was the reason, but instead we were using like bari sax and cello to fill out that sound.
Can we have one more question?
Sure.
This is a really specific question, but the first line of the song is I want to cure you.
Cue you.
Cue you.
Cue, like C-U-E. Like you're gonna do what I say, when I say it. And that's like one of the first Wsabi Fox songs. Yes, ma'am. So that's, yeah.
There's a slight tilt to it about you saying cure and kill at the same time.
Yeah, people think that. Yeah. All right, thanks guys.
So we're just gonna have a quick 5-minute break. Feel free to go out and grab a drink. And then after this, you definitely want to hang around. So Jamil's going to basically go through, Jamil's part of our team, he's going to go through a bit about some of these platforms. So ultimately, with blockchain and all these platforms that allow musicians to monetize, there's a lot of few complexities that go with it. So definitely want to hang around for that. And JBJ, yeah, you're going to be up soon as well, and you definitely want to hang around for that. All right, thanks guys.
Also, shameless plug, I need a charger.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
I can't help you.
All right, so if you guys could all come back in the room in about 7:50.
Cut that.